Hello, my name is Veronica, and welcome to the Learning Lab episode number 111. And this is not your typical rosette. No crunching it down, trying to smush it together and get some hot glue in there real quick before everything springs up. Come on into the lab and let's get started. So starting out with the first one, not your typical rosette. As you can see, this is holding itself together in the center. I have nothing covering it on the top or the bottom. I punched it. I think this is the Layered Arches corner punch from Martha Stewart, or the border punch, but came out very darling. Another one I used is the Aster punch for this one, and you can see that deep edge that's on here, but let me show you the magic to this. I can pretty much pull it apart, yet it stays together. I did use some glue in the center and on the two tips. Just thought it was cute now to show you really how this comes together. If you'll take a look at this one, I used the Martha Stewart Starburst border punch on this, and you can see where this has been pleated, and I put glue on the two tips, but once I push this together, it can naturally hold itself. If I want to help it, I can just put a little dab of glue in between, push it, and there you have it. But I thought I might use these for the holidays as a name placeholder. If I did that and just set that inside, how cute would that look? Now this one I think would make the perfect ornament. As you can see, it does have a little bit of height to it, so on a card you're going to have quite a bit of depth there. But this thing is just so stinking cute. I don't know what else to say about it. And this is one that I will demo for you in today's lab. Just so airy and beautiful and elegant. And another one I did as I played around with was this one. Turned out a lot different than I thought it would, but I still liked it. It was cute. And it's extremely dimensional, and I love this punch. All my punches used on these were the Martha Stewart ones. So, as I said, I want to demo this one for you. So, let's get started on that. Now, most people, when they're getting ready to do these, what they'll do is they'll go ahead and punch out something like this and then go back and score it. But what I've done instead is I've cut my card, and I'm going to go ahead and pre-score it, and then I'll accordion fold it. This one is 3.5 by 6. I also cut a 3 by 6, and I have several other different ones that I've done at 3 by 12, 3.5 by 12, 3 3/4 by 12, 4 by 12, 4.5 by 12, 5, 6, 8, all the way up to 10, just to see the variety that I could get. I'm going to do a 3.5 by 8. The first time I go through, I don't press super hard because I don't want to rip and tear my paper. I just want to break down those fibers in there. So I'm just going to go back through again. Now, to make it even easier to work with, I'm going to flip this over, and you can probably see those lines sitting up there. And so again. Now this is heavyweight cardstock, and this particular paper is from a pad by K&Company, and it's the Brenda Walton Deluxe Specialty paper pad. It's one of those that I picked up at Lovely Tuesday Morning for $1.99, and it's double-sided, beautiful, beautiful paper. Did you absolutely think I was going to leave it sitting there? And did you also think that I wasn't going to get 2 of them? Because I did. Back to the demo. For this, I'm using the Daisy Lace punch. And what I want to do to get this started is to make sure that I am on the center score mark. And 3 here, 3 here. This is my center one. And I'm going to do it so that my center goes through that center punch right up through the little hole there. And if I just hold it into place and then give it a light squeeze, I can turn it over and finish punching it out. And from there, it's just a matter of lining it up and punching. And here I have just that little tip left, so I'm going to make sure these are lined, holding and pressing it up against the back so that it doesn't slide, and that'll give me a beautiful even punch all the way across. Now, I am going to turn this around, but I'm going to actually flip it because that's what will allow these two ends to marry up to each other. Using that same technique of flipping it over, putting my center through the hole, and punching. And I can't stress enough how important it is to not only push this in and line it up, but to make sure your other end is not hanging out. You don't want that dangling. You want to make sure that it's flush against the back. Then my last little piece has to get punched. And there we are. So now it's time to do some folding. Because you've already loosened up those fibers, it's just going to go lickety-split. Okay, those are done. Now I just need to loosen up those fibers that are in the center. And I do that just by bending this back and forth. But basically, you're just loosening these up and you're getting them ready to bend in the direction that you want them to go. Now this part you're going to have to watch rather quickly because it will go fast. The only thing you're going to need is some glue, and I use my matte accents for this and also sometimes my glossy accents just because it sets up very quickly and it's like super easy to use. So now we've gotten our paper all limber. You ready for this? Just gonna grab the two ends of it. You're gonna pull them. And there you go. It's all done. Okay, I'll do that again because I know it was fast. So, looking at the two tips here, I'm just going to take those two tips and pull them to each other. Go to the other side, take these two tips, pull them to each other. Okay, to get it to stay together, this is where my matte accents comes into place. I only want my tips to be glued together. And so when I pull it, these ends are what are going to go together. So I'm going to take my glue and just put it along there. And like they say in kindergarten and first grade, just a dot and not a lot. So really you only need one side. And then just marry those two together. I know, I gotta tell you, I don't think it gets any easier than that. Then I'll just go over here and do the same thing on the other side. And so there you are, your beautiful little rosette all held together. Now, if you're in any way worried, you can come in to the opening there and put a dab of glue, but the pressure of it pushing against itself is what holds it into place. Now, I know, it didn't stop there. I guess you say, when does she ever just stop there? Rarely ever. So, I took my 1 3/8 inch punched and punched a square, and from that I created, you know, this little corner punch medallion, again using the Martha Stewart punches, and these just sit perfectly on top. You can run your string through there from both sides. And this was another one I was playing around with and put that there, and there you are. Isn't that a beautiful handmade ornament for any tree? People will love it. So if you come back to one of my lab shorts, I'll show you how I created this one that's actually a lot flatter than this one, which is really chunky and just light and airy and pretty. Play around and have fun with this. So as always, thank you for joining me in the lab today. Please be sure to check out my blog at inkallusions.blogspot.com. Until then.